That was very exciting. Second debate, a little bit more action here. Please do come in. How can we reduce poverty, the increase in global temperatures? We need to have a positive, socially engaged, and decarbonated economy. But I think this is really making progress, whatever the size or the geographic origin. There are an increasing number of companies who are committed. Can this economy become a majority economy in the future? Will this be the norm, the alpha and omega of tomorrow? Around the table, we have Christian de Boisredon, founder of Sparknews. You'll have the floor with your two guests, Jean-Philippe Courtois, who's Executive Vice President and President of Microsoft Global Sales, Marketing and Operations, and Frédéric Oudéa, who is Chairman and CEO of Société Générale. Gentlemen, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Well, the idea was to talk about very concrete things, and I asked my guests to share some examples with us. So I'll start with Frédéric Oudéa and ask him, what do you do in your job to foster decarbonated social economy? Well, good afternoon, everyone. As we're talking about the environment, we did take very concrete decisions at the end of 2016, following the commitment of COP21 for the climate. So we said we would stop financing any coal-related deal. And that was a big decision. It wasn't easy imposing such a big decision in a global group. And second thing, we said we would double our funding for renewable energies. We're one of the major players in energy in the world, and we said we would double our commitment by 2020 to reach 10 billion euros. So we're talking about sun power, wind power. We are linked to all wind power projects in France. We just funded the largest sun power farm in France near Bordeaux. So, and these energies are now profitable economically, and they no longer depend on public subsidies. So beyond direct funding, there is also a new finance which is developing through the issuance of green bonds, which comply with a certain number of rules and which finance projects, and there we are a major player. The dialogue between the issuer and the investor, France was the first one issuing in the Eurozone, and we established a link between France as an issuer and an investor. So we support states and investors. Okay, could you explain what's the limiting factor? Is it money available? Is it the type of projects that need funding? Is it standardization of this new economy? Well, first, I think there is a major trend out there. It is developing, and it's developing in a robust enough way so that progress that has been achieved won't be deleted in 3 years' time or cancelled out in 3 years' time with a new technology emerging. And second, it's become profitable. So what we need now are projects, feasible projects, because those projects which use public subsidies need to be intrinsically profitable because investors expect return on investment. When you invest, you want to avoid losing money. So we need profit-making projects. And Société Générale helps structuring deals to make sure that the project is profitable on the long run. Then standards. Yes, we're very much involved in standardizing the criteria to rank projects and make them eligible for funding. It's important because this is a new industry. So we need to have quantifiable, concrete standards so that investors know what they're investing in and to improve the bankability of such products. And it's not always that easy to invest in water power plants or in solar power plants. And when investors are investing on behalf of their clients, they need to understand what they're investing in. So we work with them and we organize, for instance, we organize conferences and we educate people. Okay, so you can bring traditional investors to these sectors through education, conferences, explaining to them, yeah, these can be pension funds like in the US. They have this natural appetite for positive investment, but we help them understand what they're paying for, and we are providing them with reassurance that they are not investing in a risk on behalf of their clients. Okay, Jean-Philippe Courtois, what can Microsoft, a big IT company, what can you do for the environment? Well, environmental responsibility is rooted in the core mission of our company, which consists in providing each individual and every organization to achieve their ambitions in a world which is going through a huge digital transformation. So for us, Microsoft, we work in the cloud, and we want to achieve carbon neutrality. We've done that already, but it requires huge investments in renewable energies in order to fuel the core parts of our cloud with all infrastructures throughout the world, to allow billions of people and companies to use the cloud. What we also do very concretely is work with our clients. Like one example, Ecolab. Ecolab is a global leader in water management solutions, and we worked with Ecolab and we built a smart platform with a big smart cloud platform which centralizes machines and measuring tools, smart measuring tools to capture terabytes of information and then analyze defects and correct defects so that the water consumption balance is neutral for their direct consumers. This is what we did with 250 factories in the world, and we allowed these people to recycle all the water they use in their manufacturing process thanks to this distributed smart cloud platform. That's one example that shows the power of digital technologies in all types of sectors, whether agriculture, industry, etc. Okay, so that's artificial intelligence and the service of water management in your case, but you're a company that has impacts on the environment. So you've launched a very interesting initiative, which is the internal carbon credit. Yes, we've set up an internal carbon tax. We take part of the profits in each of our entities, and we have this reserve of money which is available for innovative projects, whatever. I mean, the cloud does consume energy. So for us, it was a way to improve the efficacy of our buildings, for instance, but also to educate our staff and disseminate this information. For instance, with IT guys, when they think about infrastructure, they need to think about how they can make big calculations whilst limiting their carbon impact. So it's very simple. We were leaders 5 years ago, but I think it's a very good way to disseminate this concern in-house. Yes, and many other companies came to you to ask for advice. So feel free, if some of you in the room are interested, you can talk to these guys. And then there is the social dimension, which is also very important. At Microsoft, you have a very beautiful initiative in the field of education. Well, we don't just have one, but yes, education and employability are very important concerns for us. So we worked with the Andhra Pradesh government in the south of India, that's 150 million inhabitants, and we launched a pilot test which is being disseminated in all teaching establishments for 10 million inhabitants, and it's all about analyzing all upstream decisions to avoid school dropouts. So we collected data, social data, demographic data about the kids, about their families, about the professors, their expertise. We collected geophysical data. We also collected many different data about the establishments and their environments. And with e-learning machines, we've established 60 predictive models that came up with signals showing this is a kid who is at risk to drop out, because we've seen this case many, many times. And this allows the state to take preventive measures and focus their financial means and stop diluting their investments, but focus their financial investments to provide services to families and to kids who most need it. And the results are quite interesting. And what's interesting is that it's not true just in India. In Tacoma, in Washington State, in the U.S., we have a similar project because there are many kids that drop out in the U.S. So the power of technology, of digital technology combined to societal issues, to problems of inclusion and employability, can be very useful. There is no magic in there, but there is added intelligence that can help. So it's AI at the service of society. And it's part of your core business. It's not something aside in some kind of a foundation. It's part of your core business. So please come and do the same in France. We need that. So we still have a bit of time. Both of you have a passion for Africa. And when we talk about positive development, positive transformation, we say it will go through Africa because it will start in Africa because they're more advanced than we are in certain areas. What would you say about this? Well, this is where the strategy of companies aligns with one of the major challenges on this planet, and that's all about Africa. We talk about security, managing immigration for Europe. Africa is probably the biggest issue for the next 30 years. And the only solution is to ensure local, sustainable development in Africa. And Société Générale, which is the largest bank present in Africa, has a role to play. And we've been operating in certain countries for more than 100 years. So we have a role to play in financing large infrastructures in energy, solar farms in Morocco, for instance. But we can also be present in micro-projects, micro-solar projects in villages. And we've also launched a new brand of electronic portfolio with a French startup that we help develop, and they help us deploy technology so that 90% of African citizens who have no bank account can pay invoices, deposit money make cash withdrawals, and that's very important to secure small projects with safe payments. So that's an obvious field for us, at least for me. There is a perfect alignment between the historical strategic interest of the company and one of the largest challenge for the planet. So Africa is going to be a major challenge for development for us in the years to come. Thank you, Jean-Philippe. What about Africa? Well, for us, for Africa, there are three types of problems: access, innovation, and youth. Youth is the strength of Africa. So over the last 5 years, we've invested in a program and we've trained hundreds and thousands of young people in innovation and developing startups. And one of them is called M-Kopa in Kenya. And it addresses the problem of lack of electricity, lack of power. And it was about combining microfinance through the cloud and profile of people with no bank accounts, and so that they can pay with micropayments to get power from very small solar panels. And 400,000 households are using this. Africa is a hub of innovation, and it's great. When you go there, you can see that there are beautiful things going on. That's fascinating. We were asked to be very sharp, so we'll have to stop now. One word in conclusion. Well, I'd like to say that I'm quite convinced that digital transformation is going to speed up positive revolution that we're talking about, and it's an inspiration for all stakeholders and players. We talk of Unite for Good. We talked about social entrepreneurs. There are many people working in that field, including and people in public services, and this will have a good impact for the future. Frédéric, one word. Well, one sentence, if you don't mind. We're faced with huge challenges, but this is a crucial period for Europe and for the world. We need to change our mindset, address the world with a more positive mindset, and funding is crucial. And for a bank, like for any corporation, positive transformation gives meaning and is going to generate performance. Okay, thank you. Well, we need you, and we need you all in the audience. Thank you for attending. Thank you for your participation.